I think it looks fantastic. We're going to discuss this more. Aaron and
Yes,
I are joined by Bundeep Rangar, the chairman of IndusView. Very good to have you with us, Bundeep.
Thank you.
Let's begin with this independent story, the story in The Independent. We've seen movie stars, various actors, pop stars, all allege that their phones have been hacked. Are you surprised that Tony Blair, while serving as Prime Minister, Kate Middleton, this is before she became the Duchess of Cambridge, are among the ones that have had their phone details or bank details tapped into?
I am surprised because you thought this would have come out earlier, right? You've had the whole issue of someone being prosecuted for this earlier on, and now you've got multiple things. You've got high-profile celebrities, Kate Middleton, of course, Bank of England officials, Tony Blair, and it's not just phone voicemails being hacked into. This is bank records, health records. It just widens the nature of how deep they were going to dig out kind of anything that could be used as sensational news.
Absolutely, but surely this takes this whole story a notch up, if you will, in the case that they're talking about a serving Prime Minister. In fact, this must put, well, one would imagine, put pressure on Scotland Yard to intensify.
Scotland Yard and, of course, the Crown Prosecution Service will be looking at more of the evidence. So far, Scotland Yard is resisting more investigation, but I think this pressure is going to be really high politically. And a continued PR disaster for News of the World. This is just incredibly bad.
I think you're right. I think it actually moves beyond the issue of compensation, because I think Sienna Miller got something like £100,000 agreed with the News of the World. But it moves beyond that, doesn't it? Now it moves into criminal proceedings.
Amazing. Let's
move on. This is something you've been following.
It is, and look, it is an incredible story. For the first time, I think, in more than 20 years, OPEC have not agreed to production rate. And in fact, the Saudi oil minister has been quoted as saying it was one of the worst meetings they have ever had. And it's sent certainly a shockwave through the markets, hasn't it?
Aaron, the timing is quite interesting given the Arab Springs, as we call it, because what's happening in the political sphere is now being mirrored in the OPEC cartel itself, right? We know that Saudi Arabia and Iran have got at loggerheads there, especially look at places like Bahrain, and look at the people who are now allying with Iran in this vote. It's clearly a proxy war for what's going on outside. The other thing, of course, is that Iran is not keen to subsidize the price of oil by increasing capacity to make it better for U.S. motorists. Ultimately, I think they want to see the price of oil go past that magic number where it causes political discontent of $4 a barrel, which it's below right now, and it's come down a little bit, and it's certainly a lot higher than it was last year, $2.71, but it's not quite at that $4, which is a pain point for U.S. consumers.
You hinted at this earlier, the beginning of the end of OPEC.
Some commentators are out there,
It's certainly showing that they don't have the pricing power and therefore the market clout as a cartel. So now Saudi Arabia will act independently to boost production by 1.5 million barrels to keep that price point low. But now that's an individual actor, not the clout that you had as a cartel, which OPEC's always been famous for.
Just briefly on this, I think it adds to this amazing period that we're seeing, and I've been reading this, that if you throw what we're seeing with OPEC at the moment into the picture of the leadership issues with the IMF, the World Bank, who should lead those institutions, or has been a Europe and America, and on top of that the Eurozone issues, etc. It does look like this world order that was created post-World War II kind of fracturing a bit, isn't it?
And I'd add to that the United Nations, the Security Council, that's being readdressed. You look at the vote behind, for example, a resolution against Syria, and you can see again the aligning of the non-Western powers coming together there to possibly block a vote there. So I completely agree with you. I think these wars are being played out on multiple fronts, and it's like Clausewitz said, right? War is a continuation of politics by other means. So you've got the same thing happening here.
True.
Definitely some countries wanting a much louder voice and wanting to be heard.
Absolutely.
One country that perhaps has definitely been heard now in this food crisis, in this E.Coli crisis in Europe, is Spain. And it's been very vocal about how Germany has treated it and accused it of being the source, Spanish cucumbers originally being the source.
Right.
But now we've got free veg for all.
Good PR, isn't it?
That's
great PR, isn't it?
To see how good our stuff is, try it for free.
You know what's interesting about this picture is that there are loads of people who are grabbing the free veg. They're not shying away from it.
Nope.
Yeah, and timely, given the fact that you've got this whole summit happening in Russia right now to discuss this. I think it's great PR. I think the fact that the compensation is going up from 60 to 210 million sort of signals that maybe something went wrong in the early accusations, which have caused farmers distress. But I guess it's politics at its best here when you mix economic value with politics and then great publicity.
Sorry. No, I was going to say, that said, though, can I just say this? That said, though, it just highlights these some will say, these European knee-jerk reactions that can end up costing a small fortune.
Okay, you say that, but what about Russia's reaction now? We were talking to our correspondent earlier. Is it seen as a knee-jerk reaction? The Europeans are accusing it of it.
Well, you know, but you look at the amount Britain spent on Tamiflu at the time of the virus, and we have £1 billion worth of unused inventory. So I agree. It is knee-jerk, and it causes a lot of public purse spending on things that probably could have been better controlled, and at least on in terms of taxpayer money and supply chain inventory.
My hand's up on that because, I laugh. I still have my our 2 boxes in the fridge. Okay, they're out of date. I've got to throw them away. But, yeah, I will suck it into that. I went and bought some.
I didn't, I'm pleased to say.
Just so strong.
Guess who wants a new job? Here.
Yes, I wonder. Mr.
Blair. He's looking for a new job, we think.
Nice positioning, right? You get the big headline for a new president, and guess whose photo's right beside it, looking very elegantly poised for it. Having said that, though, look, Europe needs a front person. You've got nearly 400 million people, 27 countries, and you look at even, for example, reactions to the Japanese disaster, and Sarkozy makes a move to claim a leadership space. Actions in Libya, again, it's French and Britain-led. There's no concerted European-led agenda, especially at a time where there's still some work to be done on the single market, integrating more of the currency, energy policy, immigration policy. So there's clearly a role for someone beyond the EU Council that's there today as a democratically elected representative. And I think, therefore, in the wake of sort of increasing power of China, India, etc., there's a counterweight argument to be made here. And clearly it's self-serving for Tony Blair.
But in reality, though, I'm curious about, on top of the fact that I think he has a book out, right?
Sure,
paperback
timing is not
at the moment, so that's, exactly, great timing. But in reality, really, would an EU president really add that much more clout to the likes of China, the BRICS, that are gaining power simply through their giant emerging economies?
That's true, but if you look at, for example, India, where we do a lot of stuff, there's been a lot of discussion about a free trade between the European Union and India. And if you have one representative who can oil the machine behind the scenes in the EU, it makes it it facilitates things on both sides.
I want to quickly run through a couple more. This US solar power story, the price could near parity on price with rival energy producers, but you need some sunshine here.
Well, the devil's in the detail here, right? So you've got, currently solar is about 3 times the price of fossil fuel-based production. This one shows when it's very sunny and the demand is high, in California, there's parity. So there's a lot of exceptions to the rule here.
I think that's enough on that. I think it's pretty obvious. No wonder it was buried pretty much deep down on the front page of the FT.
Not going to happen in England anytime soon.
Aaron and I like this. We like this, don't we?
Yeah, I do. I think it's very
What do you
flash.
think?
I love it. I think it's great. It's in the carbon fiber age. It's lightweight, 800 grams. As you said, 8,000 holes for 8,000 runners. Not quite the carbon-free kind of, environmentally friendly torch that we're hoping for, but it ain't bad for a start.
You can't have everything.
And little kids can carry it, can't they?
Exactly, it's right.
That's apparently.
Bundeep, Rangar from IndusView. It's great
Thanks,
to have
Bundeep.
you with us. Thanks
Likewise,
so much.
thank you.
Thanks.
Plenty more coming up from Aaron and myself. We'll see you very, very soon.
Sure will. Bye-bye.